What if, let's just imagine for 1 second, what if you had the opportunity to sit down with Google? Let's pretend it was an entity, an AI entity. And Google, this robot thing in front of you, would tell you exactly what to do to rank your website #1. Now, I'm not sure if it's due to laziness or just people don't know, but Google has kind of given us already the blueprint for all of this, and that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to show you how to rank your website #1 based upon what Google is telling you to do today. And here's the cool part. Most of this stuff is free. You don't need the expensive tools to do this. Let's jump into it. So Google tells us to use the exact words that people type into Google search. They want us to do this. Some people call this keyword stuffing. They call it black hat SEO. They call it game in the system. But how can it be game in the system when Google is telling us to do it? So let's do an example. How to take a screenshot on a computer, right? There's the keyword. Let's see what comes up using snippet tools. But here's the problem. We thought of this, in our head. But what does the data tell us? What are people actually typing in? So if you go to Google Keyword Planner, you can type in how to take a screenshot. Use kind of the prefix of the word. Use the prefix, how to take a screenshot on a computer. You may have been thinking that. Let Google tell you how to take a screenshot. And then watch this. We're going to scroll down. Here we go. Get results. How to screenshot on Windows. 100,000 to 1 million monthly searches. The competition is low, quote unquote. How to take a screenshot on Windows. So how to screenshot and how to take a screenshot on Windows. Those are two different things. I mean, they mean the same thing, right? But they're two different things. How to screenshot on Windows and how to take a screenshot on Windows. You need to understand this. That right there, that phrase needs to be in those variants in your article. And furthermore, they should be injected into your article at very specific locations. And if you don't believe me, here's Google telling it to us. This is Google Search Essentials. Technical requirements, spam policies, not so much, but key best practices. It says, while there are many things you can do to improve your site's SEO, there are a few core practices that can have the most impact. Well, that sounds good to me. I want to have the most impact with doing the least amount of work. So they say that use words that people would use to look for your content. Use words that people would use. That means use the exact words they use and place those words in prominent locations on the page, such as the title and the main heading of the page and other descriptive locations such as alt text and link text. And there you have it. Use the exact words that people use to type into Google. If you're not doing this and you're just guessing, well, you're just spinning your wheels. You're wasting your time. Google Keyword Planner is a free tool. Use it. So how could we do it even faster? Well, I would use Ahrefs. I would come up here and say how to take a screenshot. I'd hit match in terms and I'd come down and it's going to sort it by volume. So how to take a screenshot on Windows has the highest volume, right? But I could scroll down further. How to take a screenshot on an HB laptop. 12,000 people write this in per month, but only it has a KD, a keyword difficulty of 18. That means there's less competition. See, when you use the tools, you get a little bit more granular than Keyword Planner, but heck, this is pretty darn good what we did before too. So what we're discussing here is something I discussed in my masterclass a lot, and it's specificity. On-page SEO is contingent upon being very specific or having specificity in the words that you use. And not only the words that you use, but how you use them and where you use them. But before we jump into this next part, I wanted to do one more practice with Ahrefs. I included Windows. So how to take a screenshot with Windows. And look here, how to take a screenshot on Windows. How to take a screenshot on Windows 10 or not on. See, there's no on there. And that's the specificity I'm talking about. On versus not on. These things matter. Yes, Google is smart enough to know, okay, it all means the same thing. But if you can match the searcher's query intent, like what they want to know exactly with words, because what is a blog post? What is an article on your website? But words. So words matter a lot. So here we go. We have a template we're going to work off. I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm not going to do all the words like I do in the masterclass, but I'm going to give you an idea here, okay? So Google says use words that people would use to look for your content and put them in very specific locations. So the question is, what are these locations? Well, it's kind of obvious, right? They already gave us some, but I'm going to have this as a reminder up here. Use words that people search and use them in very specific locations. Remember that. If you don't remember anything else, that's it. So the slug of a website is, www.home. right here, slug-slug-slug, right? This here needs to pair with your keyword. If the keyword is how to take a screenshot on Windows, I think it's a pretty important how to take a screenshot on Windows, right? The title tag is usually 55 characters, is it? Or less, and it describes the article. And how you're going to see this is right over here. Check this out. All these blue text, these big ones over here, that's the title tag. You'd be silly not to have your keyword. We should type the keyword up here, right? Our keyword is how to take a screenshot on Windows. That's everything. So that right there, let's color it in somehow, is the focus. Everything ties back into this with the words. And because of this, everything in the article needs to relate to this as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying as we go down the article and we're explaining how to do these things and we get off topic a little bit, you have to tie it back into the main search query intent. The people typing into Google over here, they are our clients. You have to see it that way. But I'm going to make this real easy on you. I'm going to highlight all the green parts where you need to have the exact words. You need to have the exact keyword you're working on in the slug, title tag, meta description, and the H1. You need to have it there in some variant. You can have words before it, preferably after if you can help it, but it needs to be here. Now, when we get into intro, teaser, and layup, I'm not going over those today, but the H2 is interesting. The H2 is very important as well. The H2 is your first opportunity to give a variant on the main keyword. And how to do that, I'll show you. Let's go back to Hrefs. So our main one here is how to take a screenshot on Windows, right? The keyword difficulty is high, but let's just pretend we're going after it. There's a lot of different things that we need to avoid. I call it avoiding landmines. We didn't do that portion to make sure we're avoiding landmines here. We're just pretending we can compete for this regardless. So how to take a screenshot on Windows. So what could we do to spice it up a bit? Well, maybe, I don't like any of these, how to take a screenshot on Windows 10, 7, how to take a screenshot Windows. That could work. It kind of sounds funny, but I would probably pepper that in. How to take a screenshot Windows. So how to take a screenshot Windows updated guide. So up here, the on, right, is the difference between these two. It's not the best example in the world. Oftentimes your keyword that you're working on will have variants. It's very, very obvious, right? The only variant we're seeing here is the word on. But check out your keyword. You can do this in Google search or keyword planner rather as well, and use it. And then we move on. But you know, a lot of the gold is in here and then under here. But the key is you're using words on screen. If you just jam out articles, yes, they can rank. If you get the basics down, the headings structures rather, getting the basics down, that's good. But using the words that people use, your clients use, I call them clients, remember, because they are your potential clients. You're going to make money if people come to your website. Use the exact words. If you do this, you can start to compete for higher keyword difficulty words too, right out of the box. I have, websites straight out of the sandbox that are competing for keyword difficulty 20 and 30 using these tactics. So that if that's not enough, I will link this document in the video, but the key best practices, we went over this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 different things Google has right here, and this is just scratching the surface. Sit down, print out the page, and go into it and figure out what this thing is saying if you're serious about ranking your website. But look, the top one, and the number one, it says create helpful, reliable, people-first content. You have to imagine they have it up top for a reason, right? Look, it's the number one. So click here, it says creating helpful, reliable, people-first content. This is all based upon the helpful content update that happened in late 2022. If we can do the things on this screen, then we should be able to rank higher than those spammy websites that are using AI. Well, if you're really clever, I imagine you can use AI, but you just consider all these things. But nonetheless, it says content and quality questions. Does the content provide original information, reporting, research, or analysis? So my class I go over something called Deeper. It's the searcher intent, D-E-E-P-R, Deeper. And original data is one of them. So if you can provide original information in your posts, you're going to be so far ahead of the game. Does the content provide a substantial, complete, or comprehensive description of the topic? You have to do a blanket technique. You have to talk about a lot of things on the topic. When you have a new website, you cannot have a huge breadth, right? A wideness of topic. You are not the expert on many things. You have to drill down into one thing. You need a depth instead of breadth. So let's keep going with it. Does the content provide insightful analysis or interest in information that is beyond the obvious? I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff comes back to, are you giving Google's and the users, your potential clients, new things? Or are you just regurgitating what's already online? If you can give new things to Google, it knows it, and it's going to go crazy for your content. If the content draws on other sources, does it avoid simply copying or restructuring those sources and instead provide substantial additional value and originality? We just hit on that. Does the main heading of the page provide a description, helpful summary of the content? We hit on that earlier too. Does the main heading or page title avoid exaggerating or being shocked in nature? Okay, the page title can be clickbaity. That's the thing that shows up on Google search. I'm cool with that. But in content, like I showed you, just have the keyword and keep it vanilla. Is this sort of page you'd want to bookmark, share with a friend, or recommend? Think about it. If you read a good book, you're going to want to, I call my buddy, hey man, check this book out I just read. I give it to him, right? I'll give him the book. Is your article worthy of that? Would you expect to see this content in or referenced by a printed magazine, right? That's the goal, to get natural backlinks. We did a poll. How do you get backlinks? And like 60%, I think it was, of people said, I just write content and I hope it gets backlinks because it's good enough. Well, it can happen. Does the content provide substantial value when compared to other pages? Yeah. Does the content have any spelling or stylistic issues? Is the content produced well, or does it appear to be sloppy or hastily produced? Is it mass produced or outsourced by a large number of creators, or spread across a large network of sites? Very interesting. So remember in the beginning I said if there was an AI entity that came up to you and it could tell you, it was Google incarnate, it could tell you how to rank. Well, Google already tells us how to rank, and we try to game it. We can get very granular with this, and I do in the course. I get very granular. I show you exactly how I write out a post, what to look for when you're building up a concept. But it's pretty simple when you get down to it. Just do the homework. If you're serious about this stuff, I really highly encourage you to look on Google, see what their blog posts say. Become a nerd in this stuff, and you're going to do really well. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you on the next one.